Hello, welcome to Give West Virtual Math and Language Arts meeting. Today is October 28th, 2020. My name is Dr. Hamlet, and I would like to welcome you to an exciting informational session. Today, I'm going to just go over briefly what Title I is, the plan and the promise, and then I'm going to allow our teachers, we have several math and language arts teachers that's going to give you a little bit more resource as far as what are some materials and tools used to support your child here at Give West. At the end of this presentation, it's really important that you click on the link and complete a form just to guide us on how we can better support you. Title I provides federal funding to schools to support students who are low achieving and or most at risk of not meeting state academic standards. Title I is allocated to schools based on the percentage of students receiving free reduced lunch. And this bullet is in red because we need your help currently in completing the free and reduced lunch application. Right now, we know that breakfast and lunch is free to all students, and we ask that parents, please, if you need breakfast and lunch, drop by the school or any school at Gwinnett County, and you will be provided with that. However, the application for free and reduced lunch is important because that's how we receive our funds. So please go on our website, the Give West website, or Gwinnett County Public School website, and complete the free and reduced lunch application. Title I supports parents by offering workshops and training opportunities to increase involvement in their child's education. Gwinnett Public Gwinnett County Public School receives Title I funds through the U.S. Department of Education via the Georgia Department of Education. And these funds provide additional resources to assist with educating of your child. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The plan and the promise. This is really important because it kind of outlines what Give West is responsible for, what information is responsible for as far as engagement is concerned, bringing parents in, getting them involved with what their child, what the kids are doing at school. And it's also a community type of plan, getting the community and get the parents involved in what's going on with our school. So the plan and the promise is establish the school's expectations for family and parent engagement. It describes how the schools will implement a number of specific, meaningful family engagement activities designed to increase student achievement, academic achievement. And this is where our programs are really important as far as the Title I fundings are concerned, because we are supporting our students through boot camps, which are Saturday um, remediation programs, bringing students in, helping them to work on grade increase, and helping them to complete activities and things like that. And this is where the plan and the promise is really important. You can outline, you can look at the plan and the promise a little bit more on Give website. Just click on the Give website, go to the Title I Dropbox, and click on that, and it will take you directly to the plan and the promise. It is in English and in Spanish. So I want you to stay tuned for awesome presentations by our math and language arts teachers. They did a fantastic job creating this virtual online resource for you. It's really important that you know what your child is involved in at school. And we ask parents to please participate with a lot of these activities with your child. A lot of them can be translated on your computer to Spanish, and and that way you can work with your child on a lot of these activities. Thank you all so much for taking time to learn more about how Give West is supporting students with math and language arts resources. as well as, receiving important information about this upcoming school year and things that we're doing here at Give West. Please do not forget to complete the evaluation at the end of the presentation with the teachers. The link is also provided on the school website for you. Our next important informational session will be our social studies and science night, and that's going to be hosted on February 24th, 2020. Right now, we are going to provide you with information as it comes in on the website. Also, you can receive information on our monthly newsletter sent out by Ms. Garcia. But again, if you have any information, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate in calling the Parent Center or myself, and we can support you at any point during the school year. Thank you again, and please stay tuned for a fantastic presentation by our teachers.
I'm going to talk to you today about a platform we use called Desmos. And so students will access it by clicking on the lesson on the calendar, and it's going to be linked to our lesson page. So here, our midterm review is going to be on Desmos. And it's important that whenever your student is completing Desmos, that they sign in with their Google account. This allows them to sign back in and receive feedback from the teachers. And so most of our activities have a feature where students are able to check their work, because it is important to receive immediate feedback in math so you're correctly doing the work. So for an example, this slide here says that we're going to check our work on the next slide. So step 1 says to list the coordinates of point T. And I see T has the coordinates 5, -3. And if I go to the next slide, for step 1, I'm correct. For step 2, 3, and 4, I need to keep trying. So next, I'm going to reflect the point over the x-axis. And so if I reflect over the x-axis, I change the sign of y. You guys don't need to know that. But 5 and +3. And so if I go to the slide to check my work, I see I have 2 answers correct. So I'm going to keep going back and forth, and I'm getting that immediate feedback, so I'm able to understand if I'm doing it correctly. And that's true for all of our examples. So we have another one. So when you click the correct answer, you see it changes from keep trying to you are correct. And then we also have more interactive features where the students see the impact of what they type in the boxes. So here it tells them to type in x equals -3, and a red line appears. And then on the next slide, it's a little bit more of a gradual release where the students, they have the same concept where they're typing in x equals, and they have to figure out the line that would reflect. So they have this visual support as well. And so they would keep going until it says you are correct. And so the most important thing is that students are able to immediately understand if their work is correct or not. So we do, on these type of activities, we expect students to get 100% because we're telling them if they're right or wrong, but it's the practice that's important.
Algebra 2 and Geometry at Give Center West. In this video, I'm going to show you how we use a progress sheet to keep track of students' grades and how many of our lessons are taught through Edpuzzle. On both the Geometry page and the Algebra 2 page, There are links on the main part of the page and in each lesson to a progress sheet that students can use to keep up with their grades. When you click on the link, it will take you to a progress sheet that looks similar to this. On the left-hand side, students are listed by the last 5 digits of their student number, and over proceeding to the right are all the grades either for a unit or a week. Grades that are put in the gradebook are highlighted for you so you can see, and it tells you that these grades are in the gradebook. The sheet for geometry is very similar, except it's listed by weeks instead of by units. But again, you can see the grades averaged that are in the gradebook. If you believe that a grade somewhere in here in the progress sheet is not correct, please make sure you click on the link at the top of the progress sheet and email your teacher, either Ms. Johnson or myself, and let us know which one you think needs to be checked. When you do this, make sure you tell us the exact date that the assignment came from and the exact assignment you want us to check. Another interesting feature that helps make learning easier is Edpuzzle. Edpuzzle is a site that we use that records our videos for us and allows the students to watch them and then ask them questions while the videos are playing. There will be links directly in the lessons to go to Edpuzzle, but you may also go to all of your assignments by directly doing a search for Edpuzzle and then logging in. Make sure you log in, of course, as a student and that you use Google. Please do not use the password, the name and password up here. Sign in with your school Google account, and it'll take you directly to the class that you have signed up for. All of the videos for that class will be listed, and you can go to whichever one you need to do that you haven't done yet. Over here, under completed, they'll tell you which ones you have done and what your grade is. When using these videos, you click on them, you click play, watch the video, and then answer the questions as they come along. You cannot fast forward in these videos, and it is also very important that you take the time to write down whatever information is being discussed. I hope this helps you out in improving and continuing to learn in Algebra 2 and Geometry.
In Algebra 2, we use eClass quizzes to administer our assessments. So if you look at this quiz list, you see we have our pretest and a number of unit assessments and our midterm. And so for every unit assessment, we do a unit review. So for Unit 1A, we had a review that helps prepare for the test. And in that review, we have questions that are similar to test questions and videos explaining how to do each question. So what we recommend is that students practice the question on their own and then check their answer with the review video. Again, immediate feedback is important in geometry. So they try the question on their own and then they watch the video to see if they've done it correctly. So in the end, the final review score should be 100 because we explain how to do each question after the students practice. And for every unit assessment, you have to get a 70 or higher on your review in order to take the test. So if we look at Unit 1A, I can only see this assessment because I got a 70 or higher on my review. And then let's go down to look at 2B. I don't see a Unit 2B assessment, and that's because I haven't completed my Unit 2B review. So in order for my Unit 2B to pop up, I need to score at least a 70 on my Unit 2B review.
Hello, families. I'm Ms. Freeman Jones, and I'm one of the 8th and 9th grade instructors here at Give West. And I'm going to cover with you the platform that we utilize called Scholastic Action to help our students improve upon their skills that they need for reading, writing, speaking, listening, and language. So when students log into the lesson plan for that day, they may be prompted with the hyperlink to log into Scholastic to read a certain article or to practice a skill sheet. So when they get to that link, they'll be prompted to select I am a student, and then for most of our classrooms, they won't need an access code or password. They'll simply click on the Google Classroom icon here, and it'll link them directly to our Google Classroom and whatever forms we've uploaded for them to utilize. So for instance, the 8th graders that I have, they were prompted today to, in Google Classroom, the article was here. So they selected the article. I said, please read the attached article, complete the evidence chart on a Google Doc, and complete the argumentative paragraph worksheet. So we went through it as a class. They clicked on the link and it'll bring them over to the article itself. We read through the article, and then students were prompted to then practice AKS1, which is citing textual evidence to support both Gwen and David's argument. Although they aren't able to write on the sheet, my students were asked to open a Google Doc and complete the chart. So when they did that, I'm able to give them direct feedback when they are putting their information on the chart once they share it with me. And after we went through the article and we completed the chart, students then opened up the document that was attached to the Google Classroom, and it was writing the argument paragraph. So students can write directly on this document, and they can use the information from the article. So the students were asked to leave their article up so that they can pull the information directly from the article when citing their evidence into the skill sheet. That helps them to state a claim and to give their evidence and then to write a conclusion. So this is something that we utilize in class. From the teacher point, we are able to look and see what core skills that it's covering, the type of format, the genre, and the content type. This was an article. And we also can utilize the different skill sheets, and we also have quizzes that students can take that correlates with the article. So all of these resources we have available to us to help them practice skills on their level. And it is attached to our Google Classroom. And I found that it is very helpful for the students. It's easy for them to use. It's easy for them to log into. So this is one of the platforms that we use here at Give West, and it's called Scholastic Action, and it helps our students to practice their skills in reading, writing, speaking, listening, and language. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emily Eigel, and I, along with Hallie Sy and Marty Standridge, teach Algebra 1 for our 8th and ninth grade students. Miss Sy and Mr. Standridge also teach algebra strategies for those 8th and ninth grade students. So this portion is just going to cover the programs that we are using a lot in those two classes, so you're familiar with what they're doing. Google Classroom we use pretty much every day with our algebra classes. So Google Classroom they get to through their school Google account, and they go to the apps to find the Google Classroom. And then once they're in Google Classroom, they're going to see all of the classes that they're enrolled in. So if they're in algebra and strategies, they might have 2 classes. When they go to algebra in Google Classroom and click on the classwork tab, this is going to display every assignment that we've given since the beginning of the school year. And when they click on an individual assignment and view it, they're going to see instructions on what they're doing to complete that assignment for a grade. In the Your Work section is where we're going to see the Google Slides. That's going to include everything from the activating activity to the summarizing activity. And then we also include a video of the mini lesson. This is great for those students that are digital and miss the live lesson over Zoom. And it's also a great resource for the students that have been in class but maybe need a refresher in order to complete their assignment. If a student has missing assignments, things that are marked as NTI or a 0 in the gradebook, that's because that assignment was not turned in Google Classroom, so we weren't aware that it was complete and ready for grading. So if your student says they completed something, they may want to go back and check that assignment, see if it's marked as missing, and if it's complete, hit turn in so we know it's ready for grading. Now, IXL we use a lot in strategies for skills practice. And this is great for even our students who aren't in strategies but want that practice of the skills we are talking about in algebra. So to figure out what skills might be good to practice for a particular lesson, if they go to the e-class page for algebra and pick one of the lessons that says strategies only on the calendar and look at that lesson plan, there are going to be a list, usually in that independent practice section, of assignments that are good practice for that lesson. So for this one, which was talking about functions, this one had 5 assignments in the Q portion of the Algebra 1 level in IXL. If your student doesn't have an IXL login, they might want to contact their teacher and get that from them so they can do that practice. Once they go to IXL, they're going to go to the math section and they're going to look for the Algebra 1 level and they're going to look for the green topic heading that's got a Q on it. And then for that practice, they would have done 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And trying to get to at least a 70 is our goal because that shows that they have that basic understanding of that topic. The other program we're using for practice is Delta Math, and this is where we're doing our remediation or our replacement assignments. So for the students that maybe started late, maybe transferred in late, or weren't doing work while they were digital, this is where we're sending them to do some remediation and get some replacement assignments completed. So for Unit 1, there are a list of topics that were covered in that unit, and each topic they were answering 5 questions. So we're using these assignments as replacement grades for things that are in the gradebook, and then once they complete the entire unit remediation, we're allowing that opportunity to take that test for the first time or to retake it if they want a better grade. Unit 2A has the exact same thing, but because there's more topics, we have fewer questions per topic. Once they complete that, they can do that retest and hopefully bring their grade up. Then the last concept or the last program I'm going to talk about is Desmos, and this is where we are using our calculators. Students aren't using a handheld calculator, and those students that are working from home probably want that calculator to use. So Desmos is a free online resource. If you go to the Math Tools section, there are several calculators listed. The scientific calculator is great for some of these basic things that we're doing in class, like adding and subtracting numbers, dividing, or even the square roots and the squares. The graphing calculator, which they're going to use in Algebra 1 all the way up to Algebra 2 and those higher level maths, is a great tool because it can create graphs and allow them to see some of those features of the graphs. In the keypad, if they open that up and go over to functions, it has lots of extra functions just like our handheld graphing calculators do. Things like sine, cosine, and tangent that they're going to use in geometry, in statistics. It's got things like the standard deviation and the mean and the median. In the distribution tab, it's got opportunities for them to create visual representations like histograms and box plots. And then the miscellaneous tab, this has got some functions that would be used maybe in Algebra 2, like the log and the natural log. And we're trying to get students to use this tool because this is the calculator that's attached to the EOC or that Georgia Milestones test they take at the end of the year. So if you have any questions, feel free to email your teacher and they'd be happy to help.
Hi parents, I am Dr. Adams and I am introducing to you today Google Classroom. Google Classroom is a space we use in addition to eClass for classroom assignments. Often we will place a link on the eClass page for students to go directly to their Google assignment, as you see here. But before I cover that assignment, let me walk you around the classroom. Students are invited to the classroom with a code or an invite link. Parents, you can also join the classroom to monitor your students' work. If you would like the code, email me or come back to this video. To see what assignments are coming up, you can go to the upcoming box. It will also tell you what assignments are due. Here are the posts of comments made by the teacher and or the students. Select this link to see all assignments your child has to work on. If you select this link, you can see your child's grades. Now, all assignments are not given to all students. Sometimes we cater assignments to the students' needs. For example, I have 8 students in this classroom. All 8 students were given this assignment, although I may work with students differently to meet their needs for this same assignment. But sometimes the assignment's given to 2 students, such as here. One student still has to do the work under assigned, and one student has submitted it. Sometimes you will see returned. That means that the student has turned in the work, it has been graded, and the grade has been returned to the student. You can also go to Google Calendar. In the calendar, it will show you what assignments are due on what days, especially if a child is absent. You can go back to the calendar on the day they were absent, select the link, and you will go directly to the assignment that was missing. Now, this is very important because in the class comments, you can ask me a question about the assignment, or the child can ask me a question about the assignment and hit send. It will go directly to my email, and I can see your need immediately and respond to you. In some of the assignments, you will have a class rubric. A class rubric is a document we use to grade your child's assignment. This way, all children's assignments will be graded the same way. It will give you all of the objectives of the assignments, and it will give you an idea of how you can make the best grade on the assignment. So if you do what the advanced box asks you to do, then more than likely you'll get a good grade on the assignment. So I advise all students to look at the rubric first before they begin an assignment. In this assignment box, you will see the name of the assignment and the due date, the instructions for that assignment, and if your child has submitted this assignment. Here, sometimes you will be directed to another website to go to, and that website is directly connected to the Google Classroom. Here is the actual assignment that the child is to complete. If you go to the class drive folder, you can find all assignments that was given to the child, and they can recover any assignment that was not submitted. Here, your assignments will never go missing. Remember, you parents can join Google Classroom to keep up with your child's grades, what assignments are due, and how well they completed the assignments. If you have any questions about Google Classroom, please email me or your teachers. Happy learning, scholars.